haven't done a little video in a while, and I still have stuff that I want to say about Edinburgh. So here I am, and today I want to talk to you about crowdfunding. Thank you so much if you've watched any of my other videos, it's really appreciated. I'm trying to get a little bit better at this, and I've actually bought some lighting, so I don't know if you can tell, it should look a little bit brighter and nicer. I did actually get some microphones, but I'm not using them at the moment because they're charging, and I've got maybe about 10 minutes, I reckon, till I really need to start getting ready and going to bed because it is a school night and I am tired. And in my usual, you know what, done is better than perfect fashion, I thought I'm gonna grab a cup of tea, sit down and just do this video. So yeah, I want to completely talk about crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is essentially where, kind of does what it says on the tin, your crowd, your audience, your community help to kind of pledge, they make pledges towards helping your product, your show, your record, whatever it is, kind of come to life. There's kind of some conversations to be had around crowdfunding. I think it's a really nice thing to get your crowd involved. I've pledged on things before, and you usually get kind of like limited edition merchandise that's special just for the pledges. You can get your name in like liner notes on an album, and it can really make you feel like you're part of the project. But I think a lot of the things we see being crowdfunded tend to be arts projects and you will also see crowdfunding for healthcare provision. And I suppose there is a conversation to be had around what kind of societies or worlds we're living in when we turn to individuals to raise funds for these things. Like, healthcare should be free at access and easy to access, and arts should be celebrated more. So I think there's a whole conversation to be had around that, a kind of 3 a.m. at the kitchen table kind of chat. But I'm not going to focus on that now. I'm just going to talk about crowdfunding and taking a show to the Edinburgh Fringe. As I've said before, I like making these videos because taking a show to the Edinburgh Fringe was a dream that I had, and I did make that dream come true, and I did loads of it really wrong, and loads of my journey to Edinburgh was pretty flawed, but at the same time I did do it. So I'm hoping that some of this will be interesting or useful or even inspiring to you if you're watching it. Thank you for watching it, I really appreciate you. So our crowdfunding campaign, we used crowdfunder.co.uk. that was recommended kind of through the Edinburgh Fringe artist, like how to raise funds for your show, and it was pretty idiot proof. So you can just obviously like load up your rewards, how much you're going to charge for, whether people can pay more, we put up the whole amount of what we kind of budgeted / guesstimated, because some of it's impossible to know for sure till you're there. The Fringe would cost us, and that was a fair old whack of money, and we never expected to fund the whole show by the crowdfunder, but it felt right to put the whole amount just for transparency. So we had items like show posters, CDs, hats, shirts, scripts, which was fun to make, badges, stickers, things like this that people could buy to help fund our show, or they could just donate to that whole idea without getting anything, which a few people did. It's just so amazing how many people just want to see other people's projects come to life or see art in the world, and they will donate their money to it. It always feels clunky to me, but I think to a lot of people, promoting these things is essentially asking for money, you know, because you're kind of doing it a lot of the time via like your newsletter or social media, and the other stuff you see for fundraising on social media tends to be like charitable causes, and you're there being like, I fancy going to Edinburgh for the summer and putting on a show. So it was important to me that we got kind of the right rewards for people. The amount you charge people, generally speaking, tends to be overpriced, because the point is you are trying to make money, and you've got to take in the fact that the crowdfunding page and like PayPal and things are going to take a little cut. You've got to do the postage. It's taking you probably, I spent hours searching for suppliers, designing the merchandise. So you're trying to cover all of that, and then normally when you're making merchandise you kind of want to, or I do anyway, I want to cover all of that, and then if I can make a few quid, brilliant. Essentially I just want people to have my product. But with this I was like, it's not just that I want you to have the hat, I want to make money. So I tried to make it so that I made at least £5 on each thing that I put out. Some things I didn't, just because they were cheaper price things like badges, stickers, whatever, but generally speaking I did mark things up by about £5 more than it was costing me to make them, and that worked quite well, because there were issues with postage. Trying to think what order to talk to you about things in. So I would say maybe put your markup even higher. I think if people are crowdfunding, they want to help you. Nobody has to buy your thing off of you, so don't feel shy about it. Just put it at the price that it is. I did 10 football shirts for £55 because they were very expensive to get done, because I wanted people to be able to choose their like name and number and personalise them. And I was like, this is so expensive. We only did 10 of them, did we, to make it like limited edition, and they sold out like that. People want to support you, they want the special unique thing. Just put the prices up high. Yeah, obviously don't be ridiculous, but put them up high, because there are little hidden costs. So if I just took the money that I made from the crowdfunder and how much it cost me to make everything, yes, I made a decent amount of money to help take the show on the road. If I do put into that just how much it cost me time wise to find the suppliers, to get sent buy samples of things and then be like, okay, that didn't quite work, send it back. Yeah, it's, I guess the more you do it, the better you'd be. So if I did another crowdfunder now, I was so happy with the majority of our stuff, the hats, the posters, the scripts, the badges and stickers, the quality of all of that I was so happy with. I wouldn't have to sit and research, I'd just go straight back to that company. Probably because I'm using them again, I might even be able to get a discount because I'm like a customer now. The only thing I wasn't happy with was the football shirts. Nothing to do with the company that I used. And I'll kind of look forward to hearing feedback from people that got them. It was just really hard to find something that was sustainable, that we could get printed individually, that was a football shirt material, but there was also kind of like quality. And I don't know if it's just for the shows, me and Kathy, we only had 2 shirts each, so was wearing shirts for like days on end, flyering, doing the show, carrying loads of heavy stuff. So there was just a little bit towards the end of the show, my shirt had already started bobbling, and I was like, I've only been wearing this for 2 weeks, but it was quite heavy wear and tear. But by that time, obviously, I'd also ordered them for all the crowdfunders. So I'm digressing a little bit here, but I think what I'm saying is just maybe factor in like how much time you're going to spend researching suppliers if you're kind of doing merchandise, and what the cost implications of that might be. And don't be shy of building that in, because the pledge money helped me, but it certainly didn't take any time restraints off my shoulders, if that makes sense. It did add quite a lot more work. I also had issues with postage, which is rubbish. Some of it I did plan contingency around that a little bit, but I've had to send things out to people that never got there, refund some postage that people paid, and one thing I even had to reorder because we'd completely run out of them. I didn't even have any spares. And there's a conversation to be had here too that's a little bit of a digression again, but it's around like sustainability and being like a small artist or a small business. I bought sustainable recycled packaging, and I spent ages researching that. and my packaging, one of the packagings that I put the shirts and the hats in, seemingly like literally fell apart. The packaging didn't make it. So some people basically told me that they didn't arrive, and I was like, oh, that sometimes happens. But then I spoke to other people who said, well, mine arrived, but like the packaging was all falling apart. And that made me be like, oh, for the people that didn't arrive, maybe it fell apart so much there was no longer an address to send it to. And the poster tubes, I had loads of people, not say loads, I had three people, sorry, message me who the postage had fallen off. So I'd paid the postage, it had fallen off, and I don't know if that was because these were like recycled tubes and the stickers of the postage stuff just hadn't stayed on well enough. I just don't know. I've never had that before, but I had three people where that kind of came off. And I think, do we have to think about where we're sustainable? Like, should I have just bought kind of better quality stuff, but that isn't necessarily the recycled stuff or from the smaller business? It might be, oh, I hate to say it, but going to Amazon and getting a job lot of like quality Jiffy bags. I don't really know, but yeah, you just, when you're pricing stuff, just build all of that in, I would say. Oh, I've got notes. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well was the money from the crowdfunder comes in dribs and drabs. So the first 48 hours that we launched it, we made a few £100, because I guess it's those first couple of days where people are really keen to support you. You've launched it, you're doing loads of promotion, but it doesn't clear like that into your bank account. So you'll get like 37 quid here, £64 there. So you do get all the money eventually, but you can't really rely on it. Like, obviously you can't rely on it at all because you don't know how much you're going to sell, but it would be nice to be like, oh, we've got 600 quid here in this crowdfunder, I'll be getting 600 quid at the end of the week. It doesn't really work like that. So the crowdfunder for me was more like, I couldn't really use it for any planning. It was just kind of nice relief of, I'm constantly digging into my own personal money for this. Oh, I've just had 70 quid drop into my bank account from the crowdfunder. That's really helpful. That did make me think, should I have hosted my own? Just done it via something that I already use to sell merchandise, be that, I don't know, like a Shopify or your Bandcamp, or if you do host stuff from your own website, because at least that money would have been coming in instantly, not needing to be cleared. So that is something to consider. If you're confidently selling stuff online already and you've got a setup, I'm not sure what the crowdfunder necessarily offers you. Obviously there's kind of updates that you can do, but I found the crowdfunder really easy to use in the sense of setting everything up, because it's really simple, straightforward and idiot proof. But then kind of communicating with my audience, I found it didn't have like loads of accessibility to kind of figure out individually, to kind of contact people individually about issues. And I think because I was having to message my supporters through the crowdfunder, I get the impression from communications that I've had that people didn't always get my messages, probably went to a junk folder, I'm not sure. So yeah, that wasn't ideal. So yeah, this is a bit short and sweet and a bit of a ramble, but what I would say is 100% do a crowdfunder. People want to support your project. Don't feel shy about it, because no one has to support your project. Price things up. People want to support your project. So if it's cost you £10 to make something, I don't know, put it at 20. I mean, yeah, we're trying to give people a special something, but what they're paying for is not that thing. They're paying to support you to create the piece of art or whatever it is. So yeah, be a bit bold, be a bit brazen. People don't have to buy it. Maybe if you want to make sure it's accessible, just have some lower level cost things. So I think we had stuff from £5 through to £55. Have an option, definitely, where people can just donate without getting anything, because we had loads of lovely people who just wanted to donate to us. speak to other people who have done it, try to minimise your time on researching suppliers. Consider hosting it yourself rather than on a crowdfunding site. I think this is an artist that I cite quite a lot, but PemFriend definitely has hosted some of her own stuff, so probably check out like her website for how she does things, or maybe look at some of her YouTube videos. She might have talked about how she does that a little bit. Be prepared, if you do use crowdfunding sites, for it to come in dribs and drabs, and maybe see it as the cherry on top of the budget cake. I don't think it's, or at least for me, it didn't really become, saying that perhaps do your crowdfunder a lot earlier on so that money is all clearing, perhaps set that up to go into a different account. I suppose that's something I could have done. So rather than it coming into my personal account in dribs and drabs, it could have all gone into one account and then I could have cashed that over and used it later on. I think we set up our crowdfunder to be finishing just before we went off to Edinburgh, to kind of like be part of the build up of going. So that's probably not that helpful because you need the money sooner for planning all the stuff. I think that's all I have to say. Sorry, that wasn't like a brilliant update. The next video I want to do is about accommodation, and as I say, I'm pretty interested in that because I think in accommodation, that's where we start to hit something that is maybe making the Fringe not so accessible to just artists, but also audience members, because they have to have somewhere to stay as well, right? I also think that we did it in a slightly unusual way, so I want to share a bit with you about our experience of camping and taking our camper vans, and yeah, just some of the costs behind that and things. So yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry this one has been not as well put together as I hoped, particularly because I've got notes, but please do ask if you've got any questions, and I look forward to waffling on at you a little bit about accommodation. And then I think, unless anyone's got anything else, that is probably the last thing I want to talk about to wrap up some of the stuff on the Fringe, and then hopefully I can start just sharing a bit more music stuff on here again. I just feel I've been in organisation mode for a really long time. I started playing some, well, I say some, I got the dreaded lurgy that I think everyone's been having this time of year and had to cancel some shows. I played a lovely gig the other night of original music, and I've got some more coming up, and it's really nice to get out of the football kit and be leaning into that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. I'm going to waffle on about my camper van in the next one. Speak soon. Bye.